Hello everybody, welcome to Amakhosi channel. Like, comment, subscribe, guys. Welcome back. So guys, I just want to give you a few updates, things that probably you've seen in the social media, but I'll give you more meat and other rumors that I'm hearing about the players that we are eyeing and those that probably will sign probably soon. But yeah, let me give you the updates and I'll give you what the legend Nomvete said about Godspower. So stay tuned, you all know what I'll say when. So let me start with Mayo. Mayo came to the village earlier on in the morning, met with the coach, met with the players. Yeah, you could see how smiling he was, how happy he was, the fact that he was home. And knowing that what I know and the things that I heard, I can say that Mayo wanted to come to Kaizer Chiefs before leaving for the team that he went and played for there up there in Africa. You hear his father saying that when his son comes back, he would love to play, he would love for him to play for Kaizer Chiefs. And you could see how much happy that he was at the village meeting with Kaizer, a junior, like the smile, like everything. I was beaming, greeting and hugging players. And I was like, wow, this guy feels at home. He really feels at home. And we were having questions about when is he going to get his documents? Is it now a permanent deal? What's happening? I'm going to answer you on that one as well. So when we look at how excited this guy is to be here, I must say this, and we shouldn't, let me speak about him, we shouldn't think that he's going to walk into the park. There are guys who started with this coach, went to a preseason, others did not go to the preseason with this coach, others they joined late, talk about the striking department, others joined late, but they have been training with this coach. Meaning what? The coach has had ample time to spend time to see these players like your Godspower, players like your Luke Batman, and your Hlongwane, and without mentioning the other strikers. But when you sit down and look at this guy, for me at the moment, he's down in the pecking order until he proves himself. Meaning what? Against Sikukun on Tuesday, this guy will not start, even if he might have all the papers signed today. Later on, we've just seen now that he has signed for Kaizer Chiefs. He will not be there for Sikukun. He might be there to be introduced. No, he'll be there to be introduced during the halftime or after the game. He's going to be introduced. That's one thing for sure. But look at the guys like your Mayo, like they started training with the team as well. They haven't played the game, and then the other players, we know that we should look Batman, guys like your Velebai, they're still having issues with I would say, for the lack of better term, with so it's still a case. There's still a case upon their head. So therefore, that's why they can't still play, or they can't. Yes, they can't play at the moment because there's a case upon their lives, upon their heads rather, or on their contract. So back to Mayo. Mayo, when I saw yesterday, Mickey Jr. said that Kaizer Chiefs has signed the 605 or so million of whatever, like that currency. I don't know that currency, but was it? I don't know. I don't remember the currency what it was. But so many people in the comments, they went and did their research and they wrote down the figures. Kaizer Chiefs, they've signed Mayo on a permanent deal. It's not a loan as initially it was said. It's not a loan, it's a permanent deal. We will get more details to find out how long is the loan. I know some people, they worry about what jersey number is going to wear. For me, it's neither here or there. And guys like Odilepo, they proved that it's not the jersey number that plays. So this guy is signed on a permanent deal. He has signed, we paid his club. We paid between 10 million and 12 million. That's how much we paid. I know that they had said that they won 20 million and all that, but we paid 10 million, between 10 and 12 million. That's how much, or 13 million, which I say between 10 and 13 million. That's how much we paid for this guy. So it's a permanent deal. You will fight, you say, but how is it the permanent deal? And guys, let's stick to the media and look at the reliable sources and look at the reliable people, and they will tell us right news. They will not mislead us. Guys like Mickey Jr., they will tell you the truth. That so and so has signed, so and so has signed. No, don't listen to this one. These news are fake. So and so hasn't signed. Oh, wait until I confirm. So yesterday, Mickey Jr. confirmed that Kaizer Chiefs they signed this guy between 10 and 13 million. So he is signed as a permanent deal. So Kaizer Chiefs fans, you must be happy about this signing. I'm one of those, like I did say previously, that I'm not convinced. Why I'm not convinced? Because I said that I don't think he's the type. Not the type. I don't think that I don't think that we needed him at the moment, or we need him at the moment. Now that he has signed official, I'm gonna support him. There's no player in Kaizer Chiefs that will be signed. I'm not talking about those who have stayed for years and all. I'm gonna talk against those guys. But now, once you sign and don't let cheesy, once you go that in the field of play, I'm gonna give you my support, full backing. So I'm gonna give Mayo my full backing. I never said that he's a bad player. All that I said that I don't think he's a signing that you need. But he is signed, so therefore I'm gonna support him fully. And also, I'm not gonna say that okay, because he's South African, he should get the first priority or first preference and whatnot. Nope, he needs to work like everyone else. Everyone there is employed, so therefore he needs to work his socks off. He's not gonna get favors just because he's a club's legend son. He's not gonna do that. Makhat will tell you. Eden will tell you that he even went for trials overseas and came back and needed to work extra hard for him to get the starting 11. Now that he's injured, I don't know how the coach would do this, but he still needs to work as well because Koenika has done very well. So therefore, he needs to fight to get back to the starting 11. But back to Mayo, this guy has signed a contract. We'll be told how long, we'll be told about the jersey number that he's going to wear, right? So it was asked, where is this guy gonna play? Is he gonna play as a striker? Is he gonna play as a winger? Is he gonna play as a 10? Where is he gonna play? Then if and only if now, looking at the moment, he's down in the pecking order in terms of strikers. Looking at guys like Yoduba are there. I'm not gonna say who's the number one striker because Flava he scored in his first game. So therefore, everyone now does not know who's number one striker. And we still have Godspower, whom is training and has been training with the club. It looks like, I don't know, I could be wrong. It looks like he's injured. It looks like he is injured at the moment as I speak to you because I haven't seen him at training. Look at the videos, look at the pictures, I haven't seen him. So we mustn't expect him, if what I saw is true, mustn't expect Godspower to start anytime soon. He has his papers ready, he has everything ready. However, it looks like he's injured. I might be wrong. Can correct me. So, I heard who was saying this. There's a former player who was saying this. I don't remember who it was. The former player said that he prefers Mayo playing on the wing so that he cuts inside and have a good and wide angle to shoot at. And it can be good, they can be dangerous. Others are saying that this guy can play as a 10. We no longer play 4-4-2, guys. We no longer play 4-4-2. So he can play as a 10. So if he plays as a 10, he can be sort of like a half striker, a half midfield. Zexi, he calls himself Zexi of Manchester United, Joshua Zexi. He calls himself a 9.5, meaning what? He's not a full outright striker, and he's not also a 10. But he's a 9.5, meaning he's in between. Mayo, when I study him, when I look at him, Mayo looks like he's a 9.5. This is why some of you probably are saying you're not convinced about him. You're not convinced about him that he's the type of a striker that he can score so many goals, but you are yet to be proven right. So for me, I see him as a 9.5. Meaning what? He can play as a 10, but not as a lone striker. If he plays as a lone striker, therefore we must expect us to have defenders who are not relaxed per se, but defenders would have it easier versus Mayo when it's Mayo playing versus Godspower, for example, in terms of strength. So if he's a 9.5, he can also play as a 10, or he's one of those strikers who drift in and out of the box. Some will say that no, he can play as a false 9. Can be a false 9. I hear you when you say that can be a false 9. He's not an outward striker based on the strikers that we know, right? But for me, I would say that where would I love to play him? Say that he's fit and he's fighting for his position. I would play him at number 10. Number 10 is one position that hasn't been held down. Meaning what? It's not owned at the moment. We have guys like Kaizer who are drifting in and out at 10, who are playing winger but coming inside and scores their goals inside of the crate inside. You have guys like your Dusha Balala, they play there, but they're not as effective in terms of creating and whatnot to that level, right? So now, what do we do? Do we play him as a 10? Do we play him on the left? Because also on the wing, Modi's been doing well in terms of tracking back. Now and again, you find him taking on players and or depending on the tactics or the tactics of the game that is required, right? So, but I still believe that he hasn't held down his position this season. He hasn't owned that position. So meaning what? His position is also up for grabs. So Mayo can also then play as a wing. We still have Arsenal Velebai, can play as a wing. So there's still positions that I'm saying that they're still not held down. Positions that I'm saying that no, they're still available. And also the fact that we're gonna need squad rotation. So therefore, guys like your Mayo and all, they will get their chances. Where they play, I don't know. But I've said where I think that they should play. But it's up to the coach to decide who he plays, where he plays, and when he plays. Right? So you tell me, which position do you think that he's going to excel on? And then his coach, Said Ramovic, said something interesting. Okay, let me get the article so that I don't misquote it. Let me get. I don't want to misquote these things, guys, because I want to read them as they are and not tell you what I think. So Said, his coach, he said, Kaizer is a quality striker and a real professional, but every player needs the right condition to reach his best level. With us, his role was limited. As a forward, you can't grow without rhythm, confidence, and consistent minutes. You reach and you interpret it your way that you want, but I'll tell you what I think. The German coach believes Kaizer Chiefs will provide a perfect platform for him. At Chiefs, he will get hopefully that platform, and that's why this move is the best for him. This was the right solution for both sides. Ramovic warned that Amakhosi come with massive expectations, but begged Mayo to handle the pressure. Talent opens doors, but mentality decides whether you can stay there. If he embraces the pressure, he has every chance to make it. So when you go back up there, Kaizer is a quality striker and a real professional, but every player needs the right conditions to reach his level. With us, the role were limited, and as a forward, you can't grow without the rhythm, confidence, and consistent minutes. You can read this anyhow. This is how I understand it. English is not my first language, but this is how I understand this. Seeing that he wasn't going to play, so therefore, if he wasn't going to play, where was he going to get the rhythm? Where was he going to get the confidence? If he's not getting enough minutes, meaning that he couldn't play. So if he couldn't play, he couldn't have the rhythm, couldn't have the confidence. And if you are not having the confidence, you're not going to score goals as a striker, right? So if you don't score goals as a striker, your confidence gets knocked. And Kaizer at the moment, it looked like he wasn't going to get minutes. And it looked like he wasn't going to get the minutes. It looked like he wasn't going to score those goals. So therefore, confidence would be knocked. Strikers, they perform as their confidence is high as they score. Because then they then have the fans like going against them, booing them. Ooh, boo, boo. Why? Because they are not scoring. You are charged with goals when you're a striker. You are charged with the number of goals that you score. Doesn't matter how many goals you create. If you don't score, you'll be charged based on that. How many goals? What was your primary responsibility? So, I welcome Mayo. I just hope that he's going to play, and I hope he's going to bang in goals if he plays as a striker. If he plays as a winger, he's still going to help us so much to score goals because he knows how to score goals. If he plays as a 10, he's still going to help us in the 10. I've said this before. A 10's responsibility is to create, and a 10's responsibility is also to score. And the 10's responsibility is to take off the pressure away from the striker by scoring, taking on those chances, so that even if the striker misses one goal, for example, then as a midfielder you score 2 goals, or as a team player you score 2 goals, therefore the team wins. Hooray! There's not going to be so much pressure on the striker. But if you take that pressure away from him, or make his job easy in creating for him, striker is happy with you. Yeah, he's darling. So, moving right along. But before I move right along, please guys, please comment, please subscribe. Those of you who haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Moving to Nomvete, he spoke about Godspower. He said something interesting about Godspower. He said, you probably can say that it's not interesting, but he said something interesting for me. He said that what he saw with Godspower, it's beautiful what he witnessed from him at Amazon. We know that Pele was a prolific goal scorer. Even in the PSL now, he still holds the record for most goals. So he said something interesting, and I want us to look at that. I hope this thing will open. He said something interesting. So he said, this was one of my favorite players. Godspower is a fighter. I've seen him play. He's aggressive. He challenges for every ball, and he never gives up, said Nomvete. He's a hard worker. I observed his contributions at Amazon last season, and he was instrumental in helping the team. He was always hungry for goals. His signing for Kaizer Chiefs could prove to be the most important signing for this season. The only thing he needs to do now is to replicate the performance he had at Amazon last season. Chiefs have got themselves a committed player here. What I like is that in set pieces, he can outjump anyone. He's impressive. He has impressive limping ability. He continued. Nomvete said, in addition to all his attributes, he can be a good finisher. So it was a smart move to sign him. Chiefs now have every type of a player or every type of a striker they need up front. You don't have an excuse. You just need to bring in goals. At the moment, you're not bringing goals. Yes, you are winning 1 goal, but 1 goal is never enough. 1 goal is leaning towards a draw, or sometimes even losing. So, I love what Nomvete is saying, and being a striker that he was, I trust his judgment, and I'm saying that this guy, he knows what he's talking about. But we still yet to see Godspower playing for Kaizer Chiefs, but he has a backing and there is support each and every player who will play for us. Guys, I want to hear your thoughts. I'm out. FC Amakhosi fan channel. Sending here. Cheers. Love you. Bye.